Today, I am at LoKation Real Estate, and my guest is Jonathan Lickstein. You are the Chief Operating Officer of the company and a brand new president of Beaches MLS.
Thank you very much, Lucy. I'm happy to have a conversation with you today.
And I would like to talk about artificial intelligence, the innovation, the challenges, what it brings to the industry, to real estate industry. And we can start with very positive. What does artificial intelligence bring to the table for real estate professionals to make their life easier and cost effective and bring value? I don't like the word value, but we're going to use it today, and bring value for their clients.
Well, what's interesting is the onset of artificial intelligence into all industries came about really quickly. And what's happening even faster is the evolution of that technology and how it can be applied. You see developers across the world that are building tools in their backyard, in their garage, that are having impacts on people's lives. Forget just real estate, it happens across the board. But as it pertains to realtors, it's helping them be more efficient and use their time in a more efficient manner. We all know that realtors are built on relationships. They are the driver of comfort and security and risk mitigation throughout the transaction. And what artificial intelligence allows them to do is simplify the administrative tasks, simplify the repetitive things and the nurturing and the touch points that they need to have to build the relationships, allowing them to be face-to-face and leverage that human element, spending their time elevating those relationships and furthering them to drive transactions. So think of the realtor is at an appointment, they're showing a home. Meanwhile, their AI is looking at all of the consumers browsing on their website, attempting to engage with them. Not only that, but it's updating and gaining information from their email inbox and driving logic that creates calendar items and follow-up tasks. It tells them what to do, when to do it, and gives them that opportunity to create the conversation instead of them going through everything, analyzing everything, and taking the time to actually retain that information and create those action items. And all of that happens in milliseconds. So you think about, yes, I want to text all of my clients on a certain date for a holiday or an anniversary of their closing. AI can do that automatically, and it can come out of the mindset of the realtor so they can focus on what matters most to their business, just taking care of the people and helping them through the most expensive but rewarding process that they could encounter in their life.
What about younger generation, like millennials and Gen Z, who are driving the force of artificial intelligence? They want to have everything at their fingertips. Would you say that they have a great impact on how AI is being integrated in residential real estate?
Well, these younger generations are all about this community we live in right now, which is the on-demand society. You look at television, you want to watch something, you can watch it anytime, any place on the device that you'd like to watch it on. And that's what the population has been accustomed to. So that's no different when you talk about residential real estate. If they have a question, they want it answered now. If they want information, they want to find it now. They don't want to hear that I'll send it to you later or I'll send it to you tomorrow. If that's your answer, someone else is providing that information in a faster way, and AI can alleviate that and give them that on-demand satisfaction when they have that question. Think about chatbots, right? Nobody wants to talk to a machine, but this younger generation, they want an answer now. They don't care if it's from a machine. They don't care if it's from Google. They don't care if it's from the realtor. They want the information and they want it now. So these chatbots allow you to take everything that a realtor has built up in their mind, in their knowledge of experience, put that into a knowledge base and let a chatbot reference that at any point, day or night, giving that on-demand results, even if it's 3 a.m.
Matterport is a game changer. And the combination of artificial intelligence or AI tools and Matterport 3D tours and digital twin, that is a step forward how clients, the final consumer, can enjoy the property. I call it 24/7. And especially here in Florida, we have so many international buyers. And actually, it doesn't really matter across the country. What's your take on it?
Well, what's interesting is residential real estate has two aspects to it. For a consumer to make the decision to go forward and buy a house, not only do the numbers have to work, but there's an emotional aspect to it. When they stand inside of a home and they feel the presence and are able to imagine themselves in the property itself, that's a big part of what Matterport does for realtors, is you've created this digital twin where a buyer can interact with the property and look around like they're standing in the property, even if they're in Australia. It's the same thing. And where I find that most rewarding is really as that technology continues to evolve. Not necessarily on what Matterport's doing, because you guys already do it really well, but it's creating that mass availability of devices to go even further down that. Not looking at your computer screen and having that perspective, but you've seen all of these goggles, the meta glasses, all of the different headsets, the Quest, that allow somebody to immerse themselves into another world. When we make that in mass production and accessible across the world at an affordable price, where the common consumer can have that, or a realtor can send that device in a shipping container and make that more readily available, that's going to go even further, where not only are they looking at it on a screen, but they're able to literally stand in the kitchen and look around like they're in the property. That will revolutionize the way that real estate is seen and the way real estate is sold in the future, but we're not quite there yet.
Well, just about. And right now, the goggles that are available, and they're made by Apple, for example, excellent quality. And also, the technology with Matterport, the data is so accurate and so available. It builds the trust between the agent or the realtor and the final consumer, which is very important, because the photography it's a staple, it's a must. We're not even going to talk about it. What's the next step is something that will make the difference, that will differentiate you as an agent in compare with everybody else. Do you agree with me?
I 100% agree with you. It brings a whole nother element. Photos have always been the most attractive and engaging aspect to a marketing plan for a property. And that's why it's so important to work with a professional photographer and give you the best exposure and the best presentation for the property. And that had evolved into video. But I feel like we're almost regressing back into photos, but immersive photography, which is where Matterport comes into play. When those goggles are mass spread, they're not $400, $500, $600. When they become accessible and attainable by the average American, you are at a point where everyone already has access to that device. The utilization of that device has become so normal and easy for the average consumer that you can simply send them a link to click on inside of their device, and they're in the property in an instant, doubling down even more on that on-demand requirement that our society demands. Not only can you see the pictures of a property, you can be in the property on demand.
And the early adopters, I think that also makes a difference, like your company. You've been using Matterport and Matterport technology for years now. So you can take advantage of building the trust and the relationship with consumers, because you are a reliable partner. And like you said, it's all about relationship. You have to be trusted. Trust between the realtor and the consumer is the foundation. How would you say the consumer will talk to a realtor if they don't understand the technology and they don't really know what it does?
It's always important to be able to convey your value and your value proposition. And part of that is being able to explain the technology and why it benefits the consumer, even if they don't fully understand it. So having some simple and basic explanations on why it's beneficial to that consumer, that is the differentiator. And you have to deeply understand it to be able to convey and communicate that in a very simple format for somebody who doesn't understand it. I really see that being most impactful on the listing side of a transaction. When you go in and you meet with a seller as an agent, that is a very clear way to differentiate. The easiest way and the fastest way to sell their property is by expanding their buying pool. And when you immerse a property with a duplicate, a digital duplicate that someone can walk through on demand, you're not only advertising to individuals to purchase this property locally, but you're expanding that potential buying pool to the entire world. And the more opportunities you have, the more potential buyers you have, the more likely you are to sell that property for more money in a faster amount of time and achieve that seller's goals. Now you have to be able to convey that and how powerful that is in a concise way, or you're just talking yourself out of a transaction and a relationship.
And with Matterport, so Matterport, like you said, we are constantly evolving. The new tools, like for example, now you can refurbish the whole house. You can remove all the old furniture and create new experience. You can measure the measuring tool. I think it's amazing because when you are moving, you want to know what your couch is, how big it is, or will it fit there. I think that's also important, and many other tools. Do you think your agents appreciate the fact that they have so many marketing abilities to create for the seller and it's at their fingertips?
Absolutely, but it's a certain demographic of realtors that really have grasped all of that technology and how it can benefit them. What's interesting is a few years ago, the average age of a realtor was 65 years old. And if you look at the majority of the marketplace in that age demographic, realtors don't fully understand that technology. But what we're seeing is this evolution of a younger generation coming into real estate who do understand that technology, and they've grown up with technology like this. That's their expectation. So it's only common sense that they would come in and be able to leverage all of that stuff like these tools from Matterport in order to better their business and better serve consumers. If you look back, one of the first companies to do this kind of immersive and placing furniture and moving things around in virtual rooms was Wayfair. We all know Wayfair, right? You'd be able to grab that piece of furniture, take a picture of your home and see what it looked like. But the scale wasn't exactly right. But when you're working with a digital replica of the property, you're dealing with the actual property. There's no dimensions that have to be adjusted. There's no scale that has to be changed. You're taking the actual property with the physical piece of furniture in front of you, and you know definitively, will it fit? Not only will it fit, how will it look? You can design your entire home with your current furniture into the new home before you've even walked in the front door. It's truly amazing.
I totally agree with you. And it's such a positive experience, and I think it's great for the consumer also to see themselves in a new home that they're moving to. Let's talk about some challenges with artificial intelligence. Some information can be outdated, can be biased, it can be inaccurate. How your agents, not just agents from your company, but how agents deal with issues like that?
So it depends on how you're utilizing it. I assume we're talking about artificial intelligence in general right now.
Right.
Okay. So when you're leveraging platforms like generative AI with ChatGPT, that is a public and open source. So that's pulling from anything that's publicly available on the internet. You're not able to really limit where it's looking and where it's pulling that information from. And it's, the old funny saying, if it's on the internet, it must be true. Well, that's not the case, right? So when you're leveraging ChatGPT, it's not differentiating the quality of source. It's not differentiating the credibility. So the information you get back can be outside of what you actually want to receive and what you're assuming is fact. So it's very important you fact check the information that you get out of these generative AI platforms. But where it is truly powerful is when you build a custom system or you work with a development organization that builds a closed ecosystem. What I mean by that is it's only going to reference documents, information, articles that you provide as resources. So you're able to say what is credible or what is not credible. You're able to say, I only want you to look in this knowledge database because it's my information, it's my knowledge, and I know it to be true. Instead of kind of subliminally Googling and finding whatever page returns results. That is a much more reliable way for you to operate where you know the information is accurate. You know you can rely on that. And that's something that we've done here. Imagine a real estate broker's knowledge being all put down into a knowledge base and an agent being able to 24/7 ask questions, not to ChatGPT where you don't know the information is coming from, but from your broker's knowledge database, replicating their brain, their experience. They may have 30 years of experience they're archiving to this knowledge database, giving these agents, again, that on-demand satisfaction to ask their question and have broker support 24/7. That is powerful.
That is powerful indeed. That is powerful. You basically did your homework. You prepared everything for your agents so they can rely on the information they are getting, and they can avoid all the issues that can occur.
One more piece to that actually is security, right? Anything you put into a public atmosphere like an OpenAI, ChatGPT, anything you put in there is leveraged for their other users and their other consumers. When you're operating in a closed ecosystem, what you put in there stays in there. It doesn't go out and be leveraged to other systems. So you're worried about data security and your information getting out. Unless you have a closed ecosystem, be very careful about what you put into a generative AI.
And that was actually my next question, but you just answered it.
Same page.
What about avatar? So it can be you. It looks like you, it dressed like you, the voice is yours, the words are yours. And you're talking about your vision on market conditions 2025, but it's not really you. It's a duplicate of you. How do we? That is kind of scary, as a matter of fact. To me, it is. And I've seen I've seen people standing on stage, showing right there on the monitor how they do the presentation, and it's not them, isn't it? Does it worry you?
So any technology, when put into the wrong hands, can be dangerous. And that doesn't stop when you're talking about artificial intelligence. We've seen several movies through history where they would replicate the president, for example, the president of the United States, and have him saying a certain thing, right? And be catastrophic. That technology is here right now. You can do that right now. And that is a scary proposition. But at the same time, with the bad comes the good. So we talked about working more efficiently, working smarter, working faster. You can put out content and create content utilizing that avatar of yourself in milliseconds compared to the hours it would take to record, edit, post-production, all of that stuff. You can do that in a fraction of the time, giving you, again, that time to go create those relationships, work with people, and have face-to-face interactions. So is it scary? It is scary. But when used for the power of good, it is extremely powerful. I'll give you an example. There are a lot of condo regulations that are changing in Florida as of January 1st. They have changed in Florida, excuse me. We have hosted numerous educational activities for our agents to be up to date with this legislation. And it's about a 2-hour education course. So we took that video for 2 hours where our brokers trained that information, and we put it through an AI to create a summary video, taking all of the important pieces and replicating the broker. So it's down to a 20-minute section of a video now that you can learn and absorb that information instead of spending 2 hours. So we've saved you 90% of the time.
What a brilliant way to approach the artificial intelligence and to utilize it properly.
It's just one of the ways. You have to be creative and leverage it for what it is. If you want to do something, there is an AI to help you do it smarter, faster, and better.
Now, give me 45 seconds on why Matterport is the way to differentiate yourself and to create a better positive experience between the real estate professional and the final consumer, regardless whether it's a buyer or a seller.
So number one is when you're looking at photos online, marketing individuals have become so accustomed to just presenting the property in its best light. But when you have a picture of a property, you can't see the stain on the ceiling. You can't see the hole in the wall because they're not taking a picture of that. But when you have a digital replica, you have an actual depiction of the property and its current condition. You can stand there and look up and see the ceilings. You can stand there and look to the side and see the holes in the walls, the pictures, etc. It gives you a true depiction, obviously, if you haven't edited anything. A true depiction, right? So you've taken a consumer that thinks a property looks a certain way, and history has a tendency to repeat itself, going to a property and, oh, this isn't what I expected because the photos made it look a certain way. So it's giving a true depiction of the property, giving the consumer an accurate view that when they show up, they know it's accurate and they know it displays the same way that they saw in the Matterport digital replica. So the realtor is getting more credibility. They're not losing the respect. They're not losing the trust. that we talked about is so important in the transaction and the relationship. So taking all of that, consumer goes and they look at 10 houses in a day. That's a lot. I used to limit myself to 5 or 6. So if you look at 10 homes, they go home, they're sitting at dinner and they're speaking with their spouse and, honey, I like the one with the blue cabinets. Which one was that? Was that this one? Was that one? And they're completely confused about which house they actually liked. So what does the realtor have to do? They have to go back and show those homes again. Whereas if you have the Matterport replicas, you can pull that up, know instantly which home you're referring to, and help them imagine themselves in that home, making that decision-making process that much easier, and keeps them excited throughout the transaction process, giving them that ownership of placing their furniture, imagining himself with that view. And I guarantee the way that buyers obsess about the home buying process, that they're sitting in their living room on their iPad, looking at that digital replica every day throughout the transaction, because that's what they're interested in. And that's the dream they're trying to realize. So it creates the product in your hands. And we all know historically that in a sales tactic is to put the product in the consumer's hand. You can't bundle up a house and put it into a buyer's hand, but you can put the digital replica, giving them that ownership and that possession that they feel like they already own it.
Couldn't say any better. Thank you, Jonathan.
My pleasure, Lucy. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. All the best, everybody. Cheers.